Alright, fam, it's Wednesday morning, February 4th, 2010. First of all, happy birthday to my sister Minnie. Girl, we getting old, I ain't lying. Yeah, your boy look raw. This is the raw version of Shawnee Mo. I got an interview today. I got to go from one side of Maryland all the way to the other side of Maryland. So, this is part three, I guess you want to call it, of a day in the life in the unemployed. I'm going to shout at y'all in a minute once I get dressed, but here we go. Alright, fam. I'm just about dressed and ready to do this thing. I ain't gotta be there till 2 o'clock, but I got a ride. I got a little ride. I mean, it took me a while to figure out what I was gonna wear. Wait a minute, something doesn't feel right. Give me a second, hold on. There you go. Now, you think they're gonna take me serious when I go in there today and try to get this job? I just had to do this because it's really stressful. It's really stressful, and I feel like actually wearing this. I'm looking pretty fly though, ain't I? Yeah. Check this out. Y'all know that I'm not gonna wear that because the first thing that's gonna happen is some people I know, including my wife, will see this video and go, "Please tell me you did not wear that hat to the interview." No, I'm not gonna wear the hat to the interview, but just like millions and millions of other Americans who are job searching, I can tell you something up front. In a way, I look forward to going to the interview. To be able to try to have this opportunity to get this job. But then there's another part of me that's like, how many more of these will I have to go through? And once again, not taking anything away from the process, but the process can be quite stressful too. Um, what I'll do is get ready to get myself together so I can go, and when I come back, I'll tell you how it went. It's your man, part three, a day in the life for the unemployed. You know, Maybe I should wear that hat. I'll see you in a little bit. All right, fam, it's your man, Shawnee Mo. Fight to the finish. That's what it's all about. I'm back now. How did it go? The interview itself was really, really nice. One that, of course, with everything else came some glitches, and the first glitch was I was given the wrong location. So I had to travel from one side of Maryland all the way to the other side of Maryland. Take a look at the map, you'll see it. And then I got there, got on the elevator, went up to the floor that I was supposed to go on, and when I stepped off the elevator, a young lady was coming out the door and asked me, was I there to see anybody? I pulled out my paperwork, I showed her who I was there to see, and she told me that that person did not work in that building. So, of course, I called the person because I had the number. I called him on the phone, and he told me I was at the wrong building. Now, this was the information that was sent to me through another agency. I'm probably in about maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 agencies, databases, and stuff like that. So I went along, with the information that was given to me. So the guy said, that he would touch base with some folks and, we would try to resolve it, and I was like, okay, so I'll just wait downstairs in the lobby. Um, I called my wife to let her know exactly what had happened. Prior to me leaving, prior to me leaving home, my wife had called me just to see how I was doing, and understand something, I kind of feel like if I can't, I kind of feel like my wife is the one person that I should be able to tell how I'm feeling, and she not always take it as a personal shot. But that wasn't the case when she called today. And honestly, I was not taking a personal shot at her. I was just expressing the fact that, there were a few variables involved in me having to go from one side of Maryland to the other for this interview. The biggest thing is that, I'm still at my level of frustration, my high level of frustration, just about the way, the things have been going as far as the phone calls from the agencies, the conversations with the recruiters, and the various emails that I get about various positions. I seem to be getting more emails for more positions that are further out where I have no access, to getting to these particular places than I do getting, email leads about, spots that are not that far away from me, or that are accessible to me to get to, and it can really be frustrating. And so, I just expressed that to her. I wasn't mad, I wasn't angry. I just told her, I said, I got to get myself ready to go all the way across town, and my money is already low, low enough. So here I am, I'm having to spend more money to go and sit and talk with somebody about possibly getting a job. And in my mind and my heart, I believe that I have the job, but just because in my mind and my heart I believe it, doesn't necessarily always mean that the person that I'm going to meet with believes it in their mind and their heart. So, I mean, I'm being realistic about the whole situation. And in the middle of that conversation, she goes, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you all upset. And I'm like, I'm not upset. I'm just telling you how I feel. Right about now, every day that you call and ask me how I'm feeling, my feelings won't change until I get a phone call stating that, I'm actually hired for the position. And it's something that I need for her to understand. There are more than enough times that I sit here by myself, like I'm in the house by myself right now. There are more than enough times that I sit here in this room. I may have music playing. I may be watching a video. There's no telling what I might be doing as far as using the computer in here goes. But there are more than enough times that I sit in here and I actually may cry. I may cry just to relieve some of my frustrations. I may blast the music and dance in the middle of the floor, but this is the way that I deal with the frustrations of not being employed. And there, it's like I don't really want to burden her with that, because my wife is one that will, in a way, try to take on my emotional state, and I appreciate it. But, just like me, there's certain things that she too has to deal with. So I'm very mindful of the fact that I don't want to dump on her all my stuff while she's trying to deal with some things of her own, and so this conversation, this phone conversation, I just had to let her know that, my feelings are not going to change, my emotions are not going to change until someone says, Sean, you got the job. Fast forward. I get there, the guy calls me back. He says that, someone's going to come down and meet me. Well, the person that came down, she was, for lack of a better term, caught off guard, so to speak. She came down, she stood there, looked me dead in my face, and then looked down the other end of the hallway, and then looked back at me and asked me, was my name Sean? And I told her, yeah. So she said, I'm down here to get you. If you want, you can sit right here in the lobby and wait till he gets here, or you can come on upstairs. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter to me. Whatever works best for you is fine. So she goes, okay, well, come on, you can go upstairs. So we go to take the steps, and then she turns around and says, well, no, let's take the elevator. We weren't going nowhere but to the second floor. So we take the elevator up. When we got to the elevator, there was another brother who was on his cell phone, and I assume he worked in the building because he had on a shirt and tie and a suit, and he was talking to somebody on his cell phone. So she kind of reluctantly got on the elevator, but we got on the elevator. We went upstairs. She took me right back to the office that I started to go in when I got up there. And she said, well, if you want to, you can sit right here and wait. I said, okay, no problem. About maybe a minute after I sat down and she left, she turned around and came back and said, well, no, you know what? There's a bigger couch in here that you can sit down at. So I'm like, okay. And, once again, frustration kicks in. And it's like, all right, you know what? If you really don't feel like doing this, all you got to do is just leave me right here. And when the guy comes, I'm quite sure you'll let him know that I'm here. But I went on back. I sat down. I twittered a little bit. And I said, about maybe 5 minutes later, the guy shows up. So he apologized for, the wrong information. I told him it wasn't no big deal, no problem. I'm here. And so he asked the young lady to give us a conference room where he could sit down and do the interview. She took us to two different conference rooms before she finally got us to a conference room where we could sit down and do the interview. Um, that alone, just the way that she acted was really wild. It wasn't, an insult or anything. It was just really wild because she had basically got caught off guard. But we did the interview. Like I said, the interview was really nice. Um, I enjoyed myself, and I hope that he really enjoyed himself as far as the Q&A went. Pertaining to my skill set and what they're looking for and what the job responsibilities are. There was only one drawback in the whole thing, especially one that made my flag go up, and that was the fact that near the end of the interview, of course, he explained to me that this particular contract, once again, that this particular contract, the public knowledge side of it is that this contract had been extended, I believe, 4 times, maybe 5. And it could no longer be extended. And so there was another company that had been given this contract. But there was some technicalities involved in this. And right now there's basically like a stay on the contract ending, so there's a possibility that the contract could get extended again, but this particular extension will only last for about 2 or 3 months. So he's saying like the target time for it coming to an end could possibly be in March, and there are a couple variables involved in that particular instance. One instance is the new company coming in could possibly just keep everybody and folks will still have their jobs. And then the other variable is this company could come in and bring in their own people. So, of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, so like I'm just supposed to take this, if it's offered to me, I'm supposed to take the 3-month contract and try to be committed to it and try to find another job so that I won't find myself stagnated once again. And then I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. The company that sent me out on this interview, did anybody ask any questions about this? And so, there were a whole bunch of things going through my head, as it pertained to the information that was passed on to me, and trying to sort it all out and basically deal with it and really decide, what I want to do. One of the things that he did say is that the people that's part of his staff now, they got one guy that's been there almost 20 years. Um, and I was amazed to hear that. But overall, the interview was really, really nice. Like I said, outside of the information that was given to me at the end of the interview, I can say that the interview was one of my better interviews, and I enjoyed myself. Um, I guess that's about it for right now. This is part 3 of the life of being unemployed. I'm quite sure tomorrow I may have something else for you. Once again, like I said, make sure, I know there are a lot of people out there, and your comments definitely help keep me going. I got to send a big shout out to Shannon. She's a friend of mine over at Facebook and a former coworker who happened to catch the videos, and I really appreciate her words of encouragement. Thank you so much for that. That does make me feel good. Um, I don't want to pronounce the name, so I'll just spell it right here at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for, the questions, for Ring Around the World, and the inspiration for me to come back and do the video, and your words of encouragement on part 1. I greatly appreciate it. I guess, up until then, that's all I have. Make sure you check out my blog at the official Me and Me. I did post part 1. I'm going to post part 2 and part 3, and I'm gonna do some blogging. Something to keep my mind busy right now, and well, keep my mind occupied so that I won't let things get to me. But pray for me, and I'll do the same for you. Thank you so much for your support. It's your man Shawnee Mo. I see you in part 4. Y'all take care.